All right. So hello, everyone. I'm Zara Haji. Thank you so much for joining me today. It feels so good to share a space with a community of women who are passionate about their fertility and who want to be supported to make their IVF a success. So whether you have an IVF coming up soon or considering IVF as an option, I want you to feel as confident and open as you can to have a successful outcome instead of worrying whether or not your IVF will work. And today's webinar will totally help. And you've made a really wise decision to be here. And I promise it's going to be well worth your time and energy. So I hope you're excited to get going. I'm just going to make sure that you can see and everything's good. If you have any questions, we'll just do a little bit of housekeeping for the new people. There's a chat box. If you hover over your screen, you can click on chat and make sure that it's to everyone. And you can enter your message here. If it's a technical question, then Melissa, who's here, my assistant, will help you out. And if it's content related, I'll do my best as we go through the webinar to answer your questions. So I'd love to know who's here on the webinar. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, just say hello. Feel free to enter your message on the chat to the side. So as I mentioned before, feel free to post your questions and any comments you have along the way. I'm really excited to be sharing space with all of you. So one of my favorite sayings and secrets to my client success is ask, believe, receive. So I really want you to pat yourself on the back, not only for asking for support, but for opening to receive it. And especially for showing up on the webinar today, because this 90 minutes is going to be the most important time you'll spend on your fertility all year. And by the end of our time together, you'll know the essential missing piece that improves your chances of successful pregnancy by over 90% and exactly how to use it. Plus, I'll walk you through the 5 biggest negative beliefs that are keeping you from feeling the joy and anticipation of achieving a successful pregnancy. Hi, Allison, welcome. And instead of feeling the joy and anticipation of achieving a successful pregnancy, these thoughts keep you in fear. So more importantly, I want to show you how to change these negative thoughts. Hey, Amber, welcome. It's so nice to have you. And I'm going to give you easy to follow practical strategies so you can right away so that you can start to work with your mind and body for a successful IVF. So remember, I already sent you the Believe checklist when you registered for today's webinar, and we're going to work through this together. I'm going to show you exactly how to change negative thinking, fear, worry, and doubt, and actually believe and receive your pregnancy success. So we're going to be going through that throughout the webinar. Plus, Tanya will be joining us at the end to share why she hired me to coach her through her last and final attempt at IVF and how she shifted from not believing it would work to having her daughter within the year. And you'll want to listen all the way to the end. Okay. So if you're having technical difficulties, Melissa will be in touch with you. Just make sure, Melissa, if you can also turn off Tanya's video until we're ready to have her on. That would be great. All right. So I want you to know, because even against impossible odds, you can become the vessel for IVF success. Just like Tanya and Lindsay and Bo, who are like so many of my other clients, you can have your success story. And I want to show you how I can help you to get there. And one more piece before we get into the thick of things. Part of my education is in learning theory. And what I know based on experience is if you want to learn faster and remember more, ideally you need to be actively and committedly engaged in your learning. So this means it's a good idea to turn off all your distractions right now so you don't multitask or surf the net while you watch and listen. I really would love for you to commit to fully to listening, to watching and learning, and do so right to the end, because that's what you've been doing in your fertility journey. And it's that commitment that's going to make you an amazing mother. I hope you can see that. It's necessary here as well. So staying committed, open, and present will make all the difference in how you become a mother. So practicing these skills now just brings you closer to reaching that goal. And don't quit partway, because you won't get the results you want. I promise the information you're about to receive will make a significant difference in your fertility journey. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me, and I'm not going to go on and on about myself, but I'd love to share a very small bit about me so you have some context for why you can trust me and follow my recommendations. So I feel very blessed that my passion for women's periods and fertility has allowed me to help hundreds of women worldwide achieve their dream of motherhood, even when the odds were stacked against them. So nearly 10 years ago, I was asking myself, why would a woman's body cause her so much pain, unhappiness, and distress? So I sought out a yoga program focused on women's bodies. And what I learned was so life-changing that it led me to create Moon Goddess, my #1 fertility yoga and meditation practice. And at first, when I created Moon Goddess to help women make peace with, help a woman make peace with her period and restore a healthy hormonal balance. But what I didn't realize is, at that point, is that my work would have such a tremendous impact on women who are trying to conceive. So like women close to 40, women who are trying for a really long time, women whose IVFs didn't work, they were all showing up to my classes, and more of them months or weeks later would email me saying they were pregnant. So I took Moon Goddess online, and some of you are part of Moon Goddess, and women in over 25 countries take part in the program now. But it wasn't just enough for me. Hi, Christina. Happy New Year, everyone. So just getting back to the story, it wasn't enough for me to offer just an online fertility program, because when you're on the fertility roller coaster, as you know, there's so many emotions and you need to talk them out. You also need to know you're not alone. You need an expert to support you, because the doctors don't tell you everything you need to know. But most importantly, you need to believe that you can conceive, and you need someone you trust to believe in you. So that's why I got trained in psychotherapy, theta healing, Reiki, and womb blessings, because I realized women struggling with their fertility really needed this deeper support to heal and open to the miracle of pregnancy. And every year I'm astounded by the fertility miracles we create. One of my very first clients, we'll call her Amy, was told by her doctor in her IVF cycle, which was her 5th, to throw away her embryos with her husband's sperm because they were poor quality, and instead to opt for the donor embryos they had also created. She said no, and she opted to work with me. And 12 months later, with the same embryos that the doctor told her to throw away, she had her baby boy. At this point, she was 40. She had 4 previous failed IVFs. And because of her husband's sperm problems, this was her last chance at having a biological child with his DNA. And we got her miracle. And that's what I say, even against the most impossible odds, when your own doctor says there's less than a 1% chance of pregnancy, with the right support, you can conceive and carry a healthy pregnancy. I see it time and time again. But that's enough about me. Let's get back to you. And specifically, let's talk about how getting you prepared, body, mind, and spirit for IVF and pregnancy success, which is what we're talking about here today. So as you know from the guides that you've been receiving via email, there's 3 steps to getting your positive pregnancy test. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen with you so I can take you step by step through this process. Okay, so give me a second, and I'm going to share my screen. And just so you know, there we go. I will try to still keep the chat box open, but as Melissa mentioned, she's going to take care of your technical issues if they come up, and I'll be doing my best to answer questions, which you can type into the chat box as we go. All right, so let's get started. And yeah, here we go. So the 3 steps to a positive pregnancy. So we want to, step 1, cleanse. Step 2, replenish. And the most important one, believe. So the first step, when you received your cleanse checklist, you saw that we take you step by step to cleanse your body, cleanse your products, cleanse your environment, because sneaky hormone disruptors of all kinds, from your beauty products to the food that you eat, and through no fault of your own, they can build up inside your system. So we want to use, basically want to support the liver to cleanse toxins and excess hormones. And if you don't have the cleanse checklist, just stay on till the end and we'll make sure that you get a copy. And the idea is that when you cleanse these excess toxins, you're actually supporting the uterus to let go of stagnant blood and tone tissue. So it's really important to cleanse before IVF, ideally 3 months before. The second step is to replenish. So I'm just going to close this chat box just in case it's interfering with what you can see. So you want to, of course, get rid of toxins, which is crucial, but you can't stop there. It's just as important to replace those items with healthy alternatives. So, which is why a natural fertility diet actually helps you regulate ovulation, stabilize blood sugar, strengthen your hormones. These are all the things necessary for creating a healthy pregnancy. And a lot of studies have actually been done to report like for example, avocado, 3 avocados a week before implantation and during IVF have actually shown a difference in outcomes. So, you might be thinking, well, I already try to eat as healthy as possible. I've done cleanses and detoxes. And you're right, these first 2 steps are really important. But where I see most women struggling and unfortunately failing is the missing 3rd and most critical step. And it's really through no fault of your own, because you need to learn this. The truth is you can find all these resources online, the guides, the cleanses, the hormone supporting foods and supplements. And that finding that information is easy. But as I mentioned, if you don't have, for example, the second checklist, which is Nourish, we will get it to you right at the end of the webinar. So hang in there. Let's talk about Believe, which is where most women get stuck. Because, and the reason why this is so important is because a positive affect score, your level of peace, happiness, faith, and positivity has actually been proven to increase the probability of full-term pregnancy by over 90%. And that's specifically among women undergoing IVF. Like, that's huge. So this is critical. So I hope you're ready to learn this special technique. So the step 3 work, the worksheet that I sent you, the checklist, Believe, this is going to help you do the inner work to essentially cleanse your mind and your spirit and nourish positive belief that your IVF will work. And the reason this is the most important step is because either your mind supports your intention for pregnancy or it works against you. And we want you to feel supported. So one by one, I'm going to take you through the most common negative thoughts that you're likely experiencing. And actually what I want to show you, and this is really important, is how actually to use fear, doubt, worry, and regret, not to hinder you, but to guide you towards what you actually want. So this is really a really huge fertility tip that I'm sharing with you today. because there is a way to have these thoughts actually work for you instead of against you. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So now's the time to either get your paper and pens out or your Believe checklist handy, because we're going to start working through it together. So let's start with, of course, fear, which is the most common negative thought that a woman who's going through IVF is likely facing. And what I want to do is basically guide you to look more closely at the fear, because it's usually connected to a vulnerable feeling in your heart. And it's your heart that we really want to connect with. So let's look at the most common fear. Before you're going into IVF, it's what if this IVF doesn't work? And what I want to do here is to really break this thought down for you so you can really look at the essence of what is this thought really saying. So when we break it down, I'm afraid this IVF won't work, but I really want it to work. And that's what's most important, that you really want it to work. And that's where I want to shift your focus onto. And to let this thought help you, you'll want to conjure the feeling of your IVF working. So let's start by answering the question, why do you want this IVF to work? So get out your workbooks if you don't have them handy, or a piece of paper, and I actually want you to answer the question, why do you want this IVF to work? And Melissa, if you're there, if you can just manage the video screen that just popped up, that would be great. So answering the question, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. Why do you want this IVF to work? And if you don't have an upcoming IVF, then answer the question, why do you want this next cycle to result in a pregnancy? So I'll give you 10 more seconds, and feel free if you want to share some answers. I'm going to open up the chat box. All right. So let's go on to the next one. And I'm not sure if you can see my chat box or not, so I'm going to unshare that. And all right, so let's go to the next slide. And let's talk about doubt, because that's another common thought is, what if, you've gone through lots of cycles and it's not working for you? Doubt starts to happen, and you actually start doubting, what if having a baby is not meant for me? So if you're having that kind of doubt, it's because your mind is trying to protect you from further heartache. So when we break it down, we really want to, again, look for the underlying truth. So even though I deeply want to be a mother, I'm afraid to keep wanting something that isn't working. Isn't that really at the heart of when you ask or say to yourself, what if having a baby is not meant for me? So I really want you to tell me, why do you want to be a mother? Really answer that question, and I want to help you answer that question. So start your answer off with, because I can't wait to, because I'm so excited to. And really encourage you to share your answers in our chat box, because when you start to actually connect with why you want to become a mother, why you want your IVF to work, why you want to become pregnant, what are you excited to experience? What can't you wait for? Maybe it's looking into your baby's eyes for the very first time. Maybe it's holding your child, or jumping up and down in the bathroom with a positive pregnancy test. You're going to get the most out of today's webinar if you actually answer these questions because you're going to start to initiate a vibrational change. And that's so key, because if you are more in resonance with why you can't get pregnant and why it's not working, then that's the reality that you'll continue to experience. And so what I want to help you do today is to start to connect with the reality that you want to be living, which is the reality of pregnancy and motherhood. So go ahead and answer the question. What is the question? I forgot. Why do you want to be a mother? And answer with, because I can't wait to, because I'm so excited to. And I'll give you a few seconds to do that in your notes or share it in the chat. And I'm just going to take some water. All right. So receiving is all about believing you can have what you're asking for. And so that's what we're trying to do here today. And you can use your negative thoughts to actually help you get clear about what you want by looking at what you don't want, essentially. So worry is another really, tricky one to work with, because, you might be asking yourself, what if I waited too long and now it's too late? So, doctors talk about age and eggs getting too old, and it's really hard when you're constantly being told that it's getting too late in time and it's, you're running out of time. So I want you to really find some compassion and ask yourself what caused you to wait. And I'm just going to open up the chat. Oh, great. Okay, so far we're looking good. Thank you, Corey, for sharing that you're looking forward to creating traditions with a family. That's beautiful. So I really do encourage you to answer that question. And now answer the question, what caused you to wait? If you've waited, what caused you to wait? Was it because you weren't in the right place in your life to bring a child into the world? But you are now. Is it because being ready to be a mother is important to you? So the idea is to let this negative thought really see what's clear in your heart. All right, so let's see what we got here. Oh, beautiful, Helen. I'm excited to be a mother because I can't wait to experience the joy of seeing and helping my child develop into an amazing human being. I'm so excited to see myself and my husband in a child. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, and I want you to just take a moment to feel that when you say something like that, when you write something like that, you're actually connecting to the feeling of having it. And so Christina, hi Christina. So Christina, getting married at 35 and being career focused and not wanting to get pregnant too soon. So now what I want you to ask yourself is, how do we have some compassion? Because that can feel a little bit disheartening to look at all the painful things that were causing you to have to wait. And what about the circumstances that kind of allow you to have some compassion? So now, for example, let's see if I have it on the next slide. No. For example, now you're in a much better place, for example, financially. Or now you're in a stable relationship and you're ready to bring a child into the world. Now your career is at a place where, for example, this may not be the case for you, Christina, but for someone else that has enough flexibility where you can bring a child into the picture. So I really want you to try to look for what is the situation that prevented you from starting earlier, and now how are you in a better place? So another way to look at it is, being ready to be a mother, is it important to you? And so waiting to become ready, puts you in a much better place. So let's continue. And thanks so much for your shares. You can continue to chat amongst yourself. So I'll go through answers as we keep going. So regret. Now, sometimes circumstances in the past can cause you to make choices that you're now questioning or regretting. So you might be regretting career choices, or you might be regretting things like potentially abortions that you had in the past, or some people, regret having taken birth control if they were on for a really long time and that happened to affect their ovarian reserve. So I want to just take a moment again to exercise some compassion, because I want to reassure you that given the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding that you had at the time that you made those decisions, you made the very best decision that you could. And now that you know better, you are making choices that reflect what you learned along the way. So I really want you to see that as a valuable growth process rather than something to regret. All right. So Melissa, if you can take care of the video screen. All right. So soothing regrets is a really important skill that I want you to learn, to cultivate, because if you allow your mind to beat you up with, oops, looks like my video is off. I'll get Melissa to turn that back on in a second. If you allow your mind to beat yourself up with thoughts like, if I had only known, or if I had only done this or that, you end up feeling powerless and defeated. So I really want you to catch yourself before spiraling too far into regret, and remind yourself, I made the best choice I could at the time. I learned a lot along the way. I'm more prepared than ever to be a mother now. This is really important to learn to soothe yourself, because you can't just keep beating yourself up. So really take a moment now, and I want you to write down your own soothing thoughts. And I know this can take a little bit of effort, and it's a little bit of a challenge when you potentially have looked at all the things that you didn't do or wish you had known, et cetera, et cetera. And I really want you to reach inside your heart and maybe think of, what would you say to a friend? Someone else who's experiencing or who's telling you their regrets. How would you soothe them? And I want you to really try to exercise your own compassion and self-soothing. So I'm going to give you a few seconds, and feel free to share in the chat box if you want some feedback, so that I can also help you and do some quick laser coaching. If you do have regrets, how can you turn them around into self-soothing thoughts? So I'll give you a few seconds while I have more water. It's a lot of talking. All right. So take your time, write it in your journals, write it in onto your worksheets, wherever you're writing. I really want you to, soothe yourself for the choices that you made at the time. And find the positive. Find what good came out of it. So I'm going to give you 10 more seconds for that. And feel free to share in the chat if you want some laser coaching. So beautiful, Christina, who says, I made the right choices at the time. I'm less stressed now. Excellent, with a new job. I'm more prepared to care for myself and to care for someone else. I've grown and learned. Oh, it's beautiful. Gratitude is powerful. And Helen, beautiful. I'm more prepared than ever to be a mother now. Perfect. All right. So let's go on. This is a table that I want you to see clearly. So I'm just going to close the chat box in case it's covering the screen. And I'm going to move this down here. This is basically a snapshot of everything we've gone through so far, and how to essentially turn fearful thoughts into positive beliefs. So I want you to use this table for yourself, and as difficult thoughts come up, help them guide you to what you actually want to believe and how you want to feel. there's one more thought that we haven't covered, and it's at the bottom of this list. And it's a big one, because if you've experienced miscarriage, pregnancy loss, or on the flip side, you had an IVF, for example, that didn't work. You had embryos that got transferred and they didn't implant, or you've never been pregnant at all. There's going to be a fear of the past continuing to repeat itself. So this is a really critical one to work out for yourself in your mind, and to use self-soothing. So even in the most difficult situation, like pregnancy loss or stillbirth, these are really unthinkable tragedies and traumas that we never want to experience. And if we have experienced them, somehow we need to reach for a different focus. So what I want you to consider is, what do you feel good about now? How have you potentially healed yourself? How have you sought support? What have you learned along the way? How have you, what are you doing now to take better care of yourself? So not to say that, there's any kind of attributing factor, because unfortunately these are things that are almost inexplicable by medical science. So it's not for a reason that's really discernible that things like pregnancy loss or a failure of implantation, it's not that clear cut that you can say it's because of this or because of that. So we really, like I said, need to focus our minds elsewhere. So what do you feel good about now? What support have you looked for now? How have you changed your diet? How have you, how have you, for example, improved your health? So where can you shift your focus on the good things, the things that you feel good about? So I really want you to encourage you to take a moment, take just 10 seconds, and try to reach for a thought that can soothe you out of fears of the thoughts of the past, repeating itself. And if you have any questions or comments, again, I invite you to share them in the chat box. So let's just see what we got here. Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Experiencing loss has opened up a whole tribe of women and community I didn't know existed, and feeling much more supported now. That's a really good one. Again, it's not that we want to, have tragedy befall us, but there is something always that comes out of getting support, feeling connected to community. And women are such a powerhouse of support for each other. So, if you can find community support, it's so helpful. All right, thank you so much for sharing. So, I want to just reaffirm that achieving pregnancy success is, of course, much more complicated than shifting a couple of negative thoughts, right? And your healing is going to be individual to you, just like your fertility journey is unique to you. So here are the steps, essentially, that you want to make sure that you're taking yourself through. You want to address your specific fertility fears to ease your anxiety. You want to change your mental story into one where you can and will get pregnant and stay pregnant. And you want to surrender to the process, which is, of course, tricky. I'm not saying that this is simple. And the truth is, positive affirmations can only go so far. So without changing the same repetitive thoughts and worries, without interrupting that story in your mind of the past, for example, repeating itself, then, you're basically stuck with the old story. And so what you need to do is replace it with a new script and new expectations. Because if you don't, you'll likely stay stuck where you are now. And we don't want that. So I want you to try it, intuit how this actually works. And I share this model in its entirety in my Becoming the Vessel program, but due to our time restraints today, I won't be able to go into it fully in depth. But just stay on till the end and I'll show you how to learn more about rescripting and changing your old story so that you can stop reliving fertility disappointments by using mind-body interventions that work. So the bottom line is you must either learn how to do this, which is, how to heal from the old past story or, real experiences of loss, and feel into and believe in your new story, the one where you get and stay pregnant. Or you'll end up paying a whole lot more money for fertility treatments that only focus on the physical science, and then cross your fingers and hope it works. So, IVF and FET, these are great treatment options and they do work. But without a solid belief in yourself and in your body, you essentially open yourself up to a whole lot more anxiety, stress, and worry. And I want your mind and body to be working together, not against each other. So here's what I recommend, because I want you to learn the fundamentals. And I want to share with you some statistics, because depression, anxiety, and anger surrounding how you'll ever conceive has actually been shown to cause psychological distress, and that distress reduces the chances of success with IVF. So in one case study, women who were experiencing depressive symptoms were half as likely to conceive versus women who were not depressed. But the good news is, in recent Harvard studies led by Alice Domar, the mind-body treatment of infertility was shown to reduce psychological distress and increase pregnancy rates by 55%. And that's exactly what I see with my clients. So my recommendation for you: breathe, do yoga, practice cognitive restructuring exercises to change your beliefs, like rescripting, change your diet, seek the support of a group and with a qualified therapist or on your own. And, mind-body healing, I strongly believe, is the only strategy that will work for a woman who's been struggling for a number of years. And of course, there are other ways to have a baby. There's donor eggs and surrogacy, but most couples don't have the money for that. And truthfully, most women want to use their own eggs. And that's why I recommend mind-body healing. But very few people are using it effectively. Most women who are doing affirmations, visualizations, positive thinking, and even fertility yoga, they're not getting pregnant. And these practices are all powerful, but there's one missing piece. You have to ask, believe, and receive pregnancy and motherhood. And you can't force pregnancy. You can't make your body do what you want. You have to work in partnership with your body to open yourself to the miracle of pregnancy. Essentially, you have to surrender. And the women I work with know in their hearts that they're meant to be mothers, but after trying so hard, they start losing faith. And sometimes these beautiful women tell me, I'm ready to give up so I can feel normal again. And the truth is, it's not actually safe for your body to get pregnant when you're flooded with stress hormones and you're caught in a struggle between hope and despair. That's what psychological distress is. And from a Chinese medicine perspective, the heart directly transmits messages to the womb. So the more heartache, the more sadness that you're experiencing emotionally, it actually blocks the uterine vessel. It's called bowel mai. And that's why you need to heal. If you don't, you'll end up giving up because you won't be able to do fertility treatments forever. And often we forget that pregnancy is just as much physical, or spiritual, I should say, as it is physical. Especially when you're spending most of your time at a fertility clinic, it's really easy to lose sight of what a miracle pregnancy is. So if you believe you're meant to be a mother, if it feels like a calling in your life, then it's your duty to listen to your heart and soul, because I honestly believe infertility is a calling for women to heal their relationship with the divine feminine. The masculine model of doing more and trying harder, it won't work when it comes to your fertility. You need the feminine model of softening, opening, and receptivity, which only comes with healing. If you can't surrender into the feminine if you're all wound up in the stress of trying, or you're filled with anxiety about how many eggs or embryos you'll get. And tragically, most women make working with the feminine mind and body really low on their priority list when they're trying to conceive. And if they aren't saying, I'm just going to give up, they're searching the internet day and night, desperately trying to figure out what their problem is. But the answers aren't out there. They're inside of you. But you won't know how to find these answers if you don't learn how to listen to your feminine heart and soul. So to keep trying harder and harder, hoping something will work, is really an expensive and time-consuming practice, especially if you keep doing IVFs and the years keep passing. You know, I spoke to one woman who said she was too depressed to do mind-body healing because she already remortgaged her house twice to pay for 8 IVFs that didn't work. So you must learn to heal. Specifically, heal your feminine mind and body. Because if you don't, you'll never know how to work in harmony with your body to create a pregnancy, or how to welcome a baby into your womb through IVF. I know so many women on the fertility journey who are just trying to make it through the workday, the next clinic appointment, the next family member or coworker's pregnancy announcement. You know, but instead of feeling bad and wasting precious energy, they could be healing. I know they desperately want to feel positive that their time will come too. They want to believe their next IVF or treatment cycle will work. But without healing your feminine mind and body, it's really hard to find the peace and trust you're looking for. Please remember, you are a woman's body. And you're meant to feel in tune with your feminine, your womb, your cycle, and your fertility. Only that will give you access to the mother energy of creation. Only that will open your womb to the miracle of pregnancy. You need to shift out of the masculine and into the feminine. I've seen so many women struggle with infertility using this masculine model of trying and trying and trying. And they get depressed because they're working against their feminine nature of essentially surrendering and allowing. It's tragic because it doesn't have to be this way. And that's why I've combined my decades of education, all my mentorship, all my training and experience, and my entire heart and soul to create a program that I call Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success. And I would love to continue sharing more IVF success tips while sprinkling in a little bit about this program. Thank you so much. All right. And remember to stay on till the end, because you're going to hear from Tanya, who got pregnant on her very last attempt with IVF after 2 miscarriages and 2 failed cycles. So she'll be with us in a few minutes. So there are 2 ways to become the vessel for IVF success. One is one-on-one coaching with me through your entire process from stimulation to the 2-week wait. And by the end of these 5 sessions, you'll be 90% more likely to carry a pregnancy to term. Why? Because your level of peace, happiness, faith, and positivity will skyrocket, and you won't be faking it. Plus, you'll be one of the very few women undergoing IVF who's connected with her feminine power, her heart and womb, and inviting a baby into the sanctuary of her body. So let's take this step by step, exactly what you get through becoming the vessel for IVF success. So step 1, you'll learn what's blocking your heart-womb connection, and you'll begin healing it with the body prayer meditation. You really must get to the source of your pain to heal it. And the easiest and gentlest way to do this is through guided visualization. Many people talk to therapists about their hurts and disappointments, but they don't actually heal because the mind is designed to protect you from pain. So if you try to heal only through talking, it can take years. But when you bypass the mind through guided meditation and visualization, you literally go direct to the subconscious where permanent healing happens. And my body prayer will guide you through a beautiful imagery to connect deeply with your heart, acknowledge the painful emotions that are stuck there, and start the process of letting them go. Plus, your mind and body get to rest through the entire process. All you do is play this meditation before you sleep and let it work its healing magic on you for about 10 days. Step 2 is a one-day retreat. So once the foundation is set for healing, it's time to connect with your feminine body through a one-day retreat just for you. In the morning, I give you my Moon Goddess #1 fertility meditation, yoga meditation program that all my clients who've gotten pregnant use. And before IVF, you need to connect with your womb. And Moon Goddess will effortlessly connect you, heart and womb, with the divine feminine. Now, this is an important IVF success tip because, your womb is essentially where your baby will be growing and be nurtured. And just like you'd prepare your home when you invite people over, you want to prepare your womb to welcome your baby. And my Moon Goddess practice is tried and true for womb healing and pregnancy success. Because actually 55% of my clients have a successful pregnancy when they follow this program with my guidance. Step 2 is we're going to continue with the day of our retreat. And in the afternoon, essentially, I give you my body prayer workbook process. So Melissa, I'm just going to ask you again to adjust the video. Thank you. Every one of my clients have called this process life-changing. And what you're doing in the afternoon is you take this workbook and you're guided by 9 simple questions to get in touch with your vision of pregnancy and motherhood. And you'll address all your fears. So just to get really clear so you understand, the body prayer workbook does 2 things. It resolves your fears and it creates your new reality. This means in the afternoon of your retreat day, you write the most important story of your life, the story where you graduate out of infertility and into motherhood. So this is an important IVF success tip. Your mind is powerful and you need it working with you, not against you. And instead of replaying the same story of failure or loss, we want to give your mind a new story to focus on. And by the end of the body prayer workbook, you'll have that clear vision of what success feels like, what that new story is. Feeling and seeing yourself happy and pregnant, feeling your baby in your arms, and the joy of motherhood. Are you beginning to see the power of this process? I hope so. So my clients call this life-changing. This ultrasound is 6 weeks old. My last, very most recent client in November who contacted me after 5 years of trying and many cycles where she didn't conceive, a couple of IVF cycles that didn't work. And this was her absolute last attempt. She was, after this, going to let it go altogether. And this is what she said about the body prayer. I loved the body prayer. It was cathartic. It brought out all these unresolved issues, fears, and doubts I didn't even know I had, and helped me work through them all. It was empowering to verbalize everything. And this is the part of this new story. Listening to it and saying it aloud every day really made a difference in my attitude. And after a week or so, I couldn't believe how confident and positive I was. It put me in the best state of mind to start IVF. So in the next portion, step 3 of our Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success process, you get a 2-hour session with me. And so after your personal retreat day, after you've done 10 days of listening to the body prayer, you scheduled your personal retreat day and started the morning with Moon Goddess, yoga meditation practice. In the afternoon, you've worked through the body prayer workbook, we schedule your first 2-hour session. And here's where I get on a call with you for 2 hours. And right on our call, with my help, we'll write up your personal body prayer, which is the vision, the new story of the life that you want to be experiencing. And we'll also work through all your negative beliefs one by one. For every single fear you have, I'll help you create a releasing statement. And the reason my clients call the body prayer life-changing is because of this. We deal with your fears head on, and we create your new vision. I get you to record it, so that's what Bo was referring to, and listen to it every day, morning and night. I ask you to repeat it like a prayer once a day, because it's essentially re-scripting the story in your mind, and we're replacing the old story with this new vision. So as you're going through your treatment cycle, you're literally reprogramming your mind for success. And this is you doing your part while the doctor does theirs. So step 4, you get 4 IVF preparation sessions. So after your first 2-hour session with me, you receive 4 weekly 1-hour calls. And my goal is to support you through every step of IVF, from stimulation, retrieval, transfer, the 2-week wait, and my genius is in healing and personalizing it for you. So right on our calls, I'll do theta healing, which is clearing subconscious fears, right at the soul level. We'll do cognitive restructuring, which is essentially helping you change negative thoughts and beliefs. And I'll create made-for-you guided visualizations. I really want to give you everything you need to make your IVF success. I also want you to have all these tools so they are always available to you, especially if you're hoping to do another IVF or FET for another child. Becoming the vessel for IVF success will be the best and only fertility program you'll ever need. And with it, you'll have the keys for pregnancy success forever. So let's talk about the investment. You can get this kind of fertility support from me in person, and I highly recommend it if it's within your means, because I'll come to you for your retreat day wherever you are in the world. So current in-person coaching rates include travel to your home, my guidance through all 4 steps of the Becoming the Vessel program in person. So that includes the retreat day, and we work through your fears and limiting beliefs. We do cognitive restructuring exercise. We heal all sexual trauma at a subconscious level, and that can include miscarriage, abortion, and essentially provide you every step of the way support no matter what comes up, so you feel safe enough to surrender to the process. And as a bonus, I'll give you a womb blessing on your transfer day. So if you prefer this, feel free to send us an email at iam@yogagoddess.ca, and the cost of the investment for the in-person is $10,000 plus the cost of travel. But the cost for Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success virtual program is less, and you'll receive all the support that I just mentioned with the in-person sessions. You just won't have me physically with you. So you also get these bonuses. If you don't already have it, you get the Moon Goddess program at no cost. You get 3 SOS emergency coaching sessions of 15 minutes where you can reach out to me anytime to get on a call. You also get the Surviving the 2-Week Wait workshop. Day or night, you have unlimited access, email access to me, plus weekly progress check-ins. And if you enroll today, I also want to give you a womb blessing at no cost. So a womb blessing is a powerful hands-on healing similar to Reiki, but focused on the womb and the 5 key points of your body related to fertility. And a womb blessing actually includes 3 treatments in one. You get the womb blessing, womb healing, and the female soul healing. I want you to finally feel connected to your womb and release infertility or miscarriage pain. And we can do the womb blessing on your transfer day if you like even. So the bonuses alone are valued at $1,400. Now, please listen carefully. I'm opening enrollment to the rest of my community for a very short window of time. However, this exact deal, the one I'm offering right now, will only be made to participants of this webinar. And because I want to be sure that becoming the vessel for IVF success is the right coaching support for you, I've asked my client, Tanya, who I worked with last year, to come on live and answer any questions you have right here on the webinar. You'll hear directly from Tanya, a real-life client who achieved IVF success with this exact program just last spring. So you don't have to take my word for it. Becoming the vessel for IVF success simply works. All right, so I asked Tanya to describe how she felt before working with me, and this is what she said. I really only had one main struggle, and that was after so many disappointments, 2 miscarriages and 2 failed IVF cycles, I did not believe I could ever actually get pregnant again and sustain a pregnancy. My faith in my body was at rock bottom. My marriage was strained, and I was ready to give up. So I asked her what were the biggest outcomes for her of working with me. Well, obviously, the number one was a successful IVF cycle and getting a positive pregnancy test. But beyond that, I found through my work with you, she says, my hope was restored. I felt positive in a way that I hadn't in a long time. I was still scared, but I believed this could work for me. The family of 4 that I had been dreaming of felt for the very first time in a long time to be within reach. All right, so are you ready to meet Tanya? I hope so. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let's find Tanya. Here we go. Okay, so I've asked her to share her video. All right, come on. Hi, Tanya.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for being here. It's such a joy to have you with us. All right. So Tanya was struggling with secondary infertility when we started working together last year. And now she has 2 beautiful, gorgeous girls. And Winnie is the newest addition to her family. So if you have questions, I'm just going to open the chat box. And give me a second. Feel free to type in your questions for me or for Tanya, and you can just make sure that you specify who you want to answer your question and just write it into the chat box. So Tanya, I guess what I want to start off with is anything that you want to share, and then I want to ask you what your 3 biggest concerns or hesitations were when you, if you had before signing up to work with me.
Okay. Well, I'll just start there. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, I found Zara through same thing, this webinar, and it immediately connected with her. And there was just a little voice in my head that said, you have to do this. You have to do this. And it felt like the right program for me at the right time. So in terms of being, sort of emotionally ready, I was ready. So there was no hesitation there. I really did feel that Zara was just the right fit for me. But, my husband and I had already spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on fertility treatment. So that was the biggest hurdle, is just trying to figure out how I could make the cost work, and sort of how I could justify that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm curious, do you, now that you made that investment, what would you say to someone who was on the fence about signing up for support from me but had the same hesitations?
Oh, I would say just do it. I mean, it sounds terrible to say, but it's almost like, in terms of, if you've already spent money on treatment, it's almost like a drop in the bucket. I mean, it's just terrible at this point to say that, but it's kind of true. And I think, I heard you talking earlier a little bit, and I I do think that the sort of mental aspect of treatment is largely ignored, and you can try to do it on your own if you want. I did for a long time, and it just really didn't work. So I think it's an investment, and it's also an investment for you. It's for your mind and just you feeling better. So I think that that's pretty priceless.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's, I really do believe that the doctors have their role and
Mm-hmm.
we have our role, and our role is to take care of ourselves the best that we can. And if you need that emotional support, then to get that support is really meaningful.
It really is. Yeah.
Mhm. Awesome. All right. So any other questions from the audience, please feel free. Let me see. We have from Shamina. Did you do in-person sessions, Tanya?
I did not. Zara's in Canada and I'm in Philadelphia. So there was just no way that wasn't going to happen for me. We did it over Skype, and we did Skype, right? Yeah. And that was totally fine. It felt personal enough. She did, the theta healing and all of those things you can still do over Skype. And yeah, I don't feel like I lost anything not being able to do it in person.
Cool. Yeah, it actually feels like we know each other. Like if I saw you on the street.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'd be like, hey, Zara! Yeah, definitely.
it's amazing the kind of connection you can create over Skype.
Oh, yeah.
It is really true. Cool. So could you share a little bit, Tanya, of your actual experience with the body prayer? Because so many people tell me that that was the big piece for them.
Completely agree. I liked all the work that we did together, but that was by far the best thing for me. I read that quote that you had up a little while ago about it bringing up a lot of issues. And I kind of feel like at that point I had been doing enough work that I sort of knew what my issues were.
Mm-hmm.
And the body prayer kind of helped me take those and sort of shifted into like this fuel for healing. And then, there was a lot of positive things in the body prayer that I had to repeat over and over again. And I'm honestly not like, I know a lot of things like The Secret, you have to say like positive thinking will get you there, but I think that's kind of like a way of simplifying it. But I think the body prayer is so personalized to you. And there are a lot of positive things in there, and just kind of repeating them day after day after day, for me was just, it was just amazing. And there was this one line that I will never forget, that Zara and I worked on together, and it was, I believe this IVF will be a success. And it ended with the word yes. And in the beginning, I was sort of like, okay, whatever. And by the end, I was like, yes, it will be a success. And it was, it just for some reason was the missing piece that sort of helped me believe that I could do this.
Yay! And now we have Winnie.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is I used to see Letty, Tanya's other daughter, come on Skype in the beginning of our sessions to say hello. And now I see them with pictures together, and it's so beautiful. They look so much alike. It's amazing.
They do look a lot alike.
Yeah. So Tanya, I'm just curious. You also did the Moon Goddess program.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering what that was like for you as part of the Becoming the Vessel process.
I liked it. I was a little afraid to do exercise during treatments. You could find so much information about whether to exercise or not during IVF, and I knew that Zara's yoga was safe for me to do, so it felt like a safe, and it was also very gentle. So it felt a very sort of safe, gentle way to get some exercise and to get in touch with my body and on a physical level. And it was just kind of nice to have that sort of anchor my day.
Did it feel any different when you were, because when you're doing stimulation, I can't remember if you did a FET or a fresh cycle?
I did a FET, yeah.
Okay. So did you feel any difference in terms of how it made your body feel through the treatment cycle?
I can't remember like specific physical things, but I do feel like I just felt a little calmer.
Okay.
it helped me to feel calmer throughout it. I actually think you and I did a weird thing because I did a fresh cycle, and I think we talked during then, and then we had a break, and then I did an FET a couple months later, and then we talked again. So yeah, I did it through both of those things.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that. True. Okay. So just curious, because you mentioned this earlier, Tanya, that when you were on the webinar, you felt a strong connection.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any other reason that you chose to work with me? Like there's so many different experts out there that you could get personalized guidance from.
Well, to be honest, I didn't actually know that there was other experts you could get personalized guidance from. I mean, you were the first one that I stumbled across, and it clearly was the right decision. I feel like it was meant to be. But I had been doing a lot of sort of visualization on my own, and sort of working with other people's theories and books and things like that. And I think I just really needed something personalized. I needed to be held accountable. I needed to be held accountable. I mean, I just would I would start a program and then stop it, start a meditation and then stop it. But this there's the accountability, and it was also it was very tailored to my specific situation.
Mm-hmm. And how is that different? Because I know you're a part of Julia Inakova's work. So how is it different from that?
Well, she's awesome. I love her too. But that you can only get sort of so personal. It's all based. She has a day-long workshop. I did do that. That was great. But that was just one day.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has phone circles that you can join, which I also did. But again, it's sort of it's based on her visualizations, and it's not tailored to you. It's not tailored to your situation. It's like you take her visualizations and you make it work to you. Whereas I feel like your program is the opposite. You sort of take the nuts and bolts of me or your clients and sort of make it fit with your program.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if anyone else has any questions, now's the time to ask, because Tanya's here live, but she's going to want to get on with her Sunday. So again, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box, and we'll give it a couple more minutes before we let Tanya go. So is there anything else while we wait to see if anyone has any questions, Tanya, that you want to share?
About the program?
Or even just your journey, because it was such a, it was a long journey. And I talk about, it's sort of occurring to me now, I talk so much about graduating from infertility, because I feel like it's kind of like you get stuck in an identity or a story, and it's really hard to shake that. So I'm wondering, did you notice that change for you?
Well, yes, but I also think it's kind of like years of struggle it's also years of healing, honestly. It's not, of course, having that success is amazing and wonderful, but I don't feel like I'm and it's not like that never happened.
Yeah.
And I was listening to part of your webinar while I was waiting to come on, and I was thinking about all you guys on here and how, a year and a half ago I was listening to the same webinar, and I remember those feelings, like just the pit in your stomach, and this is going to be my life forever and it's never going to change, and it comes back like that. But I guess I do want to say to you guys, it will get better. I promise you, it's not going to be like this forever, and just please hang on. And keep going for it.
Yeah, thank you so much, because that is the key. And at the same time, you don't want to deplete yourself.
Right.
You still want to take care of yourself through this process. You want to get the support. You want to feel like you still have the fuel to keep on going.
Yes.
But I still don't think you want to you don't want to run out of steam and then you have nothing else to give.
Right. And it's really easy to do that when you're going through fertility treatments. I mean, it's a second job, especially if you're working full time and then you're going through fertility treatments. There is no time left for anything else, especially not self-care. And then if you do self-care, it feels like I'm doing this to try to get pregnant. It's just, you see everything through that lens. But I do think that your program, because it's so tailored to the specific person, it feels so gentle and just like this, kind of like this balm to the soul. Like, okay, we're focusing on me now,
And Helen's asking, thanks. How long before your IVF cycle did you? Okay, this is like a clarification question.
Yes.
So, how long before your IVF cycle did you and I actually work together? Do you remember the timeline?
I think so. Before the retrieval, I think that you and I talked like for the first time, maybe like right before I was going to start stims, or I had even started stims. Mm-hmm. So we did our initial thing, like the body prayer, the retreat, maybe it was like right before that, maybe right before I started stims. And then, like I said, traditionally I think you just do like 4 weeks, right? But because my situation was unique, we took a break. Yeah. And then we came back for the frozen transfer.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify, I do that with any client who goes through a situation like you have to pause your cycle, either because you need to for your own like mental sanity, or that's what your protocol. I like to keep the 4 sessions in sync with the actual, when the transfer is happening. So we did that for you. We paused after you did the retrieval, and then we came back when you did your FET.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have anything else you want to say? We have like a couple more minutes, because Helen's asking, and I know it's kind of like a, how do I say, like a difficult question to answer in this particular way.
Okay.
But how would you answer? Let's see. How do you heal your womb, or how did you kind of find that healing between your heart and your womb in order to have your beautiful daughter?
I think the work I did with you. I mean, that's it. It helped me it gave me the tools to do that. Let's just say. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it on my own. I kept trying. I knew it. I knew that I had to heal myself, that I knew that it was just deeper than finding the right doctor, which for me personally, I had a lot of immune issues. So that was really important to find the right doctor. Yeah. So I found the right doctor, but I knew that there was a disconnect between my mind and my body, and I had to heal it. And working with you gave me the tools to do that.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for spending your time on
Sure. No problem. Anything I can do to help, really.
Awesome.
I know what it's like, and it's awful. So
perfect. So enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
I don't know if Letty still remembers me, but if she does, tell her I say hi.
I definitely will. She was just down here right before we started, and I was like, Letty, you have to go. So, yeah, I will definitely.
And thank you again so much. And we'll be
anytime. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Tanya.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So we'll just say goodbye to Tanya as she's heading off. And I just want to say, I love how Tanya got the support that she needed to heal, because, after 2 failed IVFs and 2 miscarriages, she got her BFP, as you hear that lingo, the big fat positive, that led to her daughter, Winnie. And you can have this kind of success too when you're going through becoming the vessel for IVF success. So are you ready for it? I highly recommend eating also the right diet for IVF success. And, as I mentioned in the program, we're really breaking down the mind, working with the mind, the body, and the soul. And we don't want improper nutrition to dampen our efforts. I hope that makes sense to you. So I want to make this IVF as easy as possible for you. And in order to do that, I want to send you also, because we started off with the 3 checklists: cleanse, nourish, and now believe. I want to send you an action plan of detoxing before your IVF. your kitchen cabinets, your beauty products, and give you a shopping list of all the top fertility foods that you should be eating for IVF success. And also for your personal retreat day, I'll menu plan with you so you know exactly what to eat. Because if you hate to cook, I'll even buy you lunch from your favorite restaurant and have it delivered to you. So to be clear, you can relax and enjoy your one-day retreat as you start your morning with the Moon Goddess program and complete your afternoon with the Body Prayer workbook without the worry of what you'll be eating. So please listen carefully. My recommendation is you get going on the Body Prayer right away, and you'll get immediate access to it and to the Moon Goddess Fertility Yoga program when you enroll in Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success. So Melissa, my assistant, will share the link for you on the chat. You can take a look at the two options. So follow the directions on the link. And is to purchase, you're deciding on whether you want to do a one pay. There's also an option to do a payment plan. And as soon as you get access, I want you to start listening to the Body Prayer meditation tonight. And if you have any questions once you sign up, remember that you have unlimited access to my direct private email. And for any technical issues, Melissa will help you out. But for everything else, you can reach me literally day or night. And if you need to get on the phone for some quick emergency coaching, you just need to text me and we'll get on the phone for 15 minutes. You have 3 of those calls throughout our time together. Usually the time spans around 8 weeks. But as I said earlier, if you run into a situation similar to Tanya, where you're doing a fresh retrieval and then you're waiting to do an FET, we'll actually pause and continue when you're ready for transfer. So as I said earlier, this offer is only available for people who attend this webinar and who register within 24 hours because I only have so many spots and we'll be opening, and I can only do so many womb blessings. So we'll be opening registrations for the rest of my community shortly for a very short window, but this level of support, the meal planning, the lunch on me, the day of transfer womb blessing, those will not be offered to anyone else. So please don't wait when the webinar countdown timer is done, because then you'll miss out on this kind of personal support. So as Melissa's shared in the chat box, you can click on the link, and I'm just going to double check. Yeah, it's IVF Success Master Class replay. And thank you so much, Christina, for joining. And it would be great to have you. I'd be so excited to support you through this process. We've done some womb blessing together, and I'd love to continue supporting you. So what's going to happen when you register, you'll just follow the links on follow the buttons on the links that we just shared in the chat. And when you do, you'll be taken to a secure checkout page. And like I said, the one-on-one support takes up a lot of my time, which is why I only have 10 spots to coach with me at this level. So if you're feeling like Tanya was after 2 failed attempts at IVF, 2 miscarriages, and you really want to believe that your next IVF can and will work, I really encourage you to sign up and get the bonus one-on-one support from me. You know, I hope you know that you are in great hands, and I promise it will be well worth your time, your energy, and your investment in your own healing. And I also want to give you my committed to making you happy guarantee. So you can try Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success right now for 10 days. Get started with the Body Prayer meditation. Start healing your body with the Moon Goddess Fertility Program. And if within 10 days of purchase you're not completely satisfied, you'll receive all but $695 of the purchase price back in cash, and you can keep all the bonuses included in Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success. So to be clear, you can keep the Moon Goddess Fertility Yoga Meditation Program, you can keep the Body Prayer Visualization and Workbook, plus the 2-week Wait Survival Workshop. This is my way of saying thank you for trying the Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success program, and putting your trust in me. You know, you have so much to gain from doing this healing, way beyond pregnancy success. And of course, including pregnancy success, because a new life free of this infertility journey is waiting for you, transitioning you to your true calling, which is motherhood. And nothing in this world gives me more joy than helping my clients bring their beautiful babies into this world. I've been around this industry for over a decade, and I have not seen a better solution for IVF support. That's why I created Becoming the Vessel for IVF Success. It will help you like no other program I've seen. So please don't struggle. Join me and we'll do it together. I would literally be honored. So please enroll now, and I look forward to meeting you and giving you that one-on-one support. Sending you lots and lots of love. I'm just going to check in with the chat if you have any questions. I'm happy to stay on for a few more minutes. So the link, I'll just reshare it for those who may have missed it. Here is where the replay will be posted. And I'm just going to go there too quickly so I know exactly what's there. And if you have any questions, so the video will be posted in this spot. And like it says here, if you register within the day, you receive a personalized wound blessing and healing. So if you're in Canada, please make sure you click the Canadian link. And you'll see all of the components of the program listed here. And again, if you have any questions at all or any any hesitations or concerns, just put them in the chat box. I'll be happy to stay on and answer any questions you have. And I really look forward to supporting you in achieving your pregnancy success. Thanks, Allison. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Helen and Christina. Thank you, Kirti. It's so nice to see you. That's so wonderful that you joined us. Anna, Shamina, thank you so much, everyone. And if I missed anyone, Veda, I don't know if that's your proper name. I just want to say that it was such a pleasure to be here today with you on Sunday. I got to stay in my cozy, comfy clothes too. So thanks for joining me, and I really look forward to hearing your success story, and I really hope I get to be part of the process of making that happen for you. So have a really good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully it's not as cold for you where you are as it is for me. And I'll see you soon. Check us out on the Yoga Goddess support group if you're not part of the Facebook group yet. And you can feel free to share any feedback or questions via email or in the support group. Bye, everyone. Take care.